This day in Philly sports history is proud to be a part of the Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network, where passionate fans make powerful content. Check out theclashingconferences.com and join the squad today. What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for March 27th, 2026. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Feel Good Friday edition of the podcast. A rainy Feel Good Friday, but a Feel Good Friday nonetheless. What a difference 24 hours makes. Not the same weather we had yesterday, but it was a successful opening day for the Phils, 5-3. We had a Schwarbomb, Alec Boehm with a 3-run homer, Bryson Stott, Brandon Marsh with 2 hits, Justin Crawford with 2 hits in his debut, Trey Turner with 2 hits. Everybody got into the party except for one man, but that's okay. That's okay. If you can provide some protection in that lineup for a Boehmer, we'll see what happens. But overall, a very good offensive show by the Phillies. Crawford, 2 hits. I think they discussed it. And listen, if you're going to hit hard ground balls and line drives where the players aren't, I don't think it matters whether you're in the minor leagues or the major leagues. That's my thought on that. Christopher Sanchez was outstanding. The bullpen was a little shaky. Kyle Backus, I heard some people on Twitter mentioning him in the same breath as Jordan Romano. Let's hope not. But Duran came out, saved the day, got thrown in there. Did give up a hit, but I think part of that was just being rushed, kind of trying to come into the game. And I saw this on, I forget who reported this, but if this is true, that's outstanding. And apparently it was the first save by a Philly on opening day in team history, 140 some odd years. And the first save, I mean, they didn't start counting them, I think, until the 70s, but still, to not have a save on opening day. But Durand, well on his way to breaking Joe Table's record of season saves. I believe the record is 45. So come on, Duran. Let's get it done. But good start for the Phils. In all seriousness, that's what we'll take. Adolis Garcia was hitting the ball hard. Nothing really to complain about. If you want to complain about Bryce going over, that's fine. But I think he'll be okay. But this is the potential I see for this team. I'll take it. They're off today. They're back at it tomorrow and Sunday, and then they welcome the Washington Nationals for 3 early next week. Flyers kept it rolling just like the Phils. 5-1 win. 5 different players scored goals, including Denver Barkey. Mishkov had an assist. Sam Ersson was outstanding in goal for the Flyers as they're moving up the standings. They got 2 big games this weekend. Saturday in Detroit, and then home at the X against the Dallas Stars. They're 5 points behind the New York Islanders, but they have 2 games in hand. The Islanders have played 2 extra games. I think that's how the saying goes. But the Islanders have played 2 more games, and they're only 6 behind Boston for the top wildcard spot. And Boston has played an extra game than the Flyers. So big weekend here for the Flyers. Let's get it done, boys. I'm all in on the Flyers. Sixers. I'll get right into it. As expected, caught a lot of grief about my being all back in on the Sixers. Lots of people making fun of the Crazy X things. Even people I consider close friends were ripping me. I was called out of my mind. This team is so mismanaged. How are they going to have... You're going to root for a team that had a Jarrett McCain tribute like he was Allen Iverson after only playing here for a year. A lot of people saying they're going to watch the games, but they're out on this team until they get new ownership, new management. Lots of people on Twitter and TikTok ripping me. I know you love her, but she's not good for you. Those types of things. And look, I said what I said. I stand behind it. Maybe I am crazy. Maybe I'm setting myself up for failure. I don't know. I just feel this time's different. We'll see what happens. I mean, they come out with two guys who haven't played in 20-some games or whatever it was, and scored the most points they've scored in a game since 1970 without their best player. So we'll see. Hopefully, Joe and Paul George will play tomorrow. But they're in Charlotte to take on the Hornets. And this is why. I mean, the East is top heavy. I'll give you that. I'm not thinking that this team is going to beat the Celtics. Definitely not going to beat the Knicks. For some reason, the Knicks are in their head. But could they beat Cleveland? Sure. Could they beat the Pistons? I don't know. They're playing well right now, but you never know. But the rest of like 5 through 8, absolutely. They could beat Cleveland, who is 4th right now. So I'm in. I don't think they're going to catch any of those teams, but the 5th seed is well within reach. They're 1 game back. They're a half game back of 6. Let's go. I'm in. And yes, I might be crazy. But I feel as though all of it comes from a place of this is the one team I have not seen won. I mean, sure, it'd be nice if the Flyers won, but if I had my choice between the Flyers and the Sixers, I want the Sixers to win a title. It's the one team that I've been supporting since the days of Clarence Weatherspoon. And like everybody talks about the process, they were tanking unintentionally during the late 90s after they got rid of Charles Barkley, or before Allen Iverson got here. So I suffered through all that. I need this. I want this. Maybe I'm being blinded. Maybe I am. But I'm all in. I need something. So I love the Sixers. I want to be involved in the NBA conversations and everything. I'm doing it. I know, I respect, I appreciate all your warnings and your love and your smacks across the face saying, don't do it. I'm doing it. Let's go. Sixers, Hornets tomorrow down in Charlotte. Union will also be in Charlotte. They were smart. They could carpool, save a little money on tolls and gas. Hopefully, the Union can get their first win of the season tomorrow night in Charlotte. Yesterday's trivia question, and I apologize if I'm stuffy. My nose allergies, they've been terrible. But yesterday's trivia question, the Phillies have played the Braves 5 times on opening day at Citizens Bank Park, the most by any team. Next in line were the Washington Nationals. And a little fun fact, the Phillies have played the Braves the most by far on opening day. I forget the exact number. It was 30-something, but it equates to about 20% of their first games of the season have been against the Braves. Some quick housekeeping notes. Be sure to follow me on all social media platforms at Philly Jimbo. Subscribe to the YouTube channel Jimbo_Mont and continue to spread the word. And if you are subscribed to the YouTube channel, then you know the new Brotherly Birds breakdown is out. Stayed up late last night editing. Was watching some of the college basketball games. The first set of games were good. Last 2, not so much. Bracket took a big hit yesterday. Still a lot in my survivor pool, but the Brotherly Birds breakdown is out. We talk A.J. Brown, obviously. We talk Eagles free agency, start looking ahead to the draft. So go check that out. And yesterday, we talked about that 71 Nova team for Throwback Thursday, and they were stripped or had to vacate their Final Four appearance. Western Kentucky, who they beat to get to the final that year, also had to vacate. So technically, the 1971 Final Four was only 2 teams. So if Nova and Western Kentucky played in the Final Four, but the NCAA vacated it, did it really happen? I don't. Turn heads and bring the hype with a custom hype chain from Lotwin. Perfect for youth sports, fantasy football, or just flexing your pride. Go to Lotwin.com, use the promo code TCCPOD for 10% off your order. That's Lotwin.com, promo code TCCPOD for 10% off. Get your custom hype chain and get hype with Lotwin. All right, March 27th. First, we're going to go back to 1971 and talk about that Villanova team. And on this day in 1971, Nova took on UCLA for the NCAA championship in a game that ended up being much closer than expected. UCLA was up 8 at the half, but they were struggling against Nova's zone defense. So after halftime, John Wooden, legendary coach, called the four-corner stall, trying to force the Wildcats out of their zone and into man. The Wildcats complied. But what John Wooden didn't expect is that the Wildcats' man-to-man defense was just as good as their zone. That man-to-man defense helped Nova get back into it. They forced turnovers and got it to 63-60 with 1 minute left, and they had the ball. There was no three-point shot back then. And part of the reason John Wooden did say he went to the four corners, he was a big proponent of the shot clock, which wasn't in college basketball at the time, and it was sort of like a lobby for that. But the major part was because he was the Nova zone was frustrating the Bruins. But unfortunately for the Wildcats, UCLA made 5 of 6 free throws down the stretch to seal the 68-62 win. Howard Porter had 25 points, 8 rebounds en route to the most outstanding player of the tournament, which he later had to vacate. So there was no most outstanding player of the tournament. But Steve Patterson for the Bruins had a career high 29 for the Bruins to lead the way as the legendary John Wooden and those UCLA teams win yet again. But Villanova played for the national championship on this day in 1971, the forgotten Final Four team that we talked about yesterday. Fast forward to 2004 and another beloved Big Five team in the tournament. St. Joe's, the number 1 team in the country and number 1 overall seed in the tournament versus the number 2 seed Oklahoma State Cowboys. Oklahoma State came in as 2.5-point favorites, but the Hawks led by 6 at halftime in this game. But both teams were struggling to shoot the ball this day. St. Joe's did push that lead at one point up to 9. But after halftime, the Cowboys stormed back, started the second half with an 8-0 run. And then from there, it was back and forth. St. Joe's did lead 62-61 with under 30 seconds left when Pat Carroll hit a big three. The Cowboys came back down the court, tight defense. But Joey Graham of Oklahoma State stumbled and caused a little bit of confusion there, forced the Hawks to switch. And as he was falling, he passed the ball to John Lucas III, who drained the three. And then Jameer Nelson got the ball, took his patented short fadeaway jumper from the top of the key, but it fell short. St. Joe's loses 64-62. And you got to look back at this as if Graham did not stumble and the Hawks were able to play their regular defense, it's kind of a fluky play. Could they have maybe pulled off? We talked about that a few weeks ago on What If Wednesday. But St. Joe's loses to Oklahoma State in the Elite Eight on this day, 64-62, ending that magical season where they went undefeated through the regular season, got the 1 seed, and almost created some magic for the Big Five. And a little bit of a Philly tie there. John Lucas III, his dad, used to coach, and I believe he used to play for the Sixers in the 70s. So in honor of, we've had some fun with this during the month of March. Today's trivia question: how many Division I schools are nicknamed the Hawks, and who are they? Now, this is straight up Hawks, not Mountain Hawks like Lehigh, not Red Hawks like Miami, Ohio, but just straight up Hawks. How many Division I teams, and who are they? And then fast forward to just last year, the Phillies opened up the season in D.C. If you remember this game, because of the timing, the shadows were just ridiculous, and it was a pitcher's duel early as both teams struggled with those shadows. 21 strikeouts combined for both teams through 6 innings. 19 strikeouts for the game for the Phillies, 13 of them by national starting pitcher Mackenzie Gore. Chris Wheeler, I always say that. Zach Wheeler had 8 Ks for the Phillies. Harper and Schwarber went back-to-back in the 6th to give the Phillies the lead. Unfortunately, the bullpen, I should have looked this up, I believe it was Jordan Romano, gave up 2 runs in the 8th. But then in the 10th, Alec Boehm with a 2-run double, JT with a 2-run triple. Phillies beat the Nationals 7-3 to open their season. They would go on to win two of the first three of the season last year en route to the division title.
It's time for Fridays with AI, where we ask AI to rewrite Philly sports history. Every Friday only on This Day in Philly Sports History.
That's right. It is Friday. It's time for Fridays with AI, brought to you by Philly Goat. Go to phillygoat.com. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off your order. They have you covered for your Philly sports apparel needs. Went out to party celebrating Ella's championship yesterday, and was getting some looks from people in the bar and the restaurant as what kind of I was wearing my Philadelphia Blue Jays shirt. People were kind of doing some double takes, but you can get a shirt like that and many more at Philly Goat. All right, so today, of course, it's the start of a new season. We're one game in. Magic number is down to 161 for the Phillies to clinch the division. So, of course, we're going to have AI simulate the Phillies season. Now, we did this before the game yesterday, so there was no bias or anything based on what happened yesterday. This was all the game starting yesterday. But AI is high on this Phillies team. AI has them winning 95 wins and winning the division by 6 games pretty comfortably. They clinch it fairly early in September as well, clinching the second seed. The Dodgers are just lights out, according to AI, winning 108 games. But let's take a deep dive into what some of the players are doing. They look at Andrew Painter as having a great year. Goes 168 innings, striking out 192. Fourth in the Cy Young voting for Andrew Painter. Does not win the Rookie of the Year, though, but is high up in that as well. Justin Crawford, solid season. We saw a good start to the season yesterday for him. Hits 284. Lots of line drive, ground ball hits, and they all count, batting most of the season in the 9th spot. Steals 54 bases, scores 92 runs. Lots of small ball, turns the lineup over, and sets the table a lot for the top of the order. Bryce Harper does get it together. I know we didn't see it yesterday. Hits almost 300, hits 34 homers, and goes over 100 RBIs. Trey Turner, still Trey Turner-like season, hits 301. But the key is, they said, he's much better and more solid on defense than anything. Sanchez, Luzardo, and Wheeler are just absolutely outstanding. And when you throw Andrew Painter in there, it's the strength of this team is going to be the way the Phillies are going to win. Johan Duran, 44 saves, one short of the team record. He doesn't get to Joe Tables. I don't know if that's the way. By the way, for all you people who don't know who I'm talking about, it's Jose Mesa. If you translate it into English, it's Joe Table. I always called him that. But he does fall one short. Not sure if it accounted for yesterday's unexpected save. Bomer, coming on a contract year, has his best year of his career, and we saw it as a precursor yesterday. Bryson Stott, solid, but nothing spectacular. And AI even said, maybe, just maybe, that is just who he is. He's an average offensive player. But more importantly, what happens in the playoffs? Well, we said they get the bye. They open up the NLDS against the Mutts and beat them in 5 in a good series. Pretty much a dogfight between all 3 teams throughout the summer, but the Phils pull away. So this is one of the good series. Gives that team some confidence moving forward, and then sets up a showdown with the 108-win Dodgers. It's hard to win 3 straight, and AI agrees. But the NLCS is Andrew Painter's breakout. He wins games 2 and game 6 and is named the MVP as the Phillies upset the 108-win Dodgers to go to the World Series. Much like the season, Painter and Crawford really step in and help the older guys out, setting up a World Series showdown for the 3rd time. Phillies, Yankees in the World Series, and what a series. It goes 7 games. Game 7, Phillies trail by 2. Bryce Harper has his elite moment in the World Series. 2-run homer to tie it. Goes into the 9th. Crawford Doesn't go in extra innings, but Crawford leads it off, walks, steals his 11 or steals a base, reaches third on an error, and then Bomer, the hero of the season, hits a sacrifice fly to give the Phillies the lead. Johan Duran comes in, seals it 1-2-3 in the ninth, and the Phillies win the World Series. Too much? Maybe. I don't know. AI might be a little bit too high on the Phillies, but if that's the way the season plays out, I'll take it. But as I mentioned yesterday, could I see them winning the division again? Absolutely. But I think those three teams are going to beat up on each other all year, and that's going to bode well. The only thing you can hope for from the Dodgers is that those teams, the Padres and Giants and Dodgers, all beat up on each other as well. But we'll see. But let me know your thoughts. We talked a little bit about this yesterday, but what are your season predictions? Who's crazier? Me for getting back on the Sixers bandwagon, or AI for thinking the Phillies are going to win the World Series? Let me know your thoughts. But that is Fridays with AI brought to you by Philly Goat. Go to phillygoat.com. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order. And then finally today, our Women's History Month Spotlight. Every journey starts somewhere. For these women, it started in Philly, whether it was on the playgrounds, rec centers, high school gyms, college gyms, and it all led to the WNBA. And today we're going to take a look at Kamiya Smalls, a Newman Goretti graduate from Philly. At Goretti, she was a Catholic League MVP. Their team only lost 2 games the whole entire time she was a starter there. They won a state championship, 2 Catholic League championships, and that all led her to James Madison, where she was 3-time first-team CAA Player of the Year, 3rd-round pick in the 2020 draft by the Indiana Fever. She bounced around, ended up in the EuroLeague, but she's a very versatile player, still looking for a shot to get back into the WNBA. She will be a JMU Hall of Famer at some point. So from the Catholic League to James Madison to the WNBA, we celebrate the journey. And today we celebrate Kamiya Smalls as we head into the weekend. So shout out to you, Kamiya. Be sure to let me know your thoughts on Phillies, what AI thinks, me, whatever you got to do. Let's have some fun this weekend. 267-495-8531. That's the Back to the Future voice and text line. Light up the phone lines. Light up the Discord channel, which is in the description as well. On this day last year, Phillies open up with a 7-3 win in 10 innings down in D.C. in the game that was marred by all the shadows early. Phillies striking out 19 times to open the season. Yikes. In 2004, St. Joe's gets beat by Oklahoma State in the Elite Eight when John Lucas III hits the three-pointer late in the game, giving the Cowboys a 64-62 win. And in 1979, Villanova loses the championship game to UCLA 68-62, ending their chance to win a national title. We'll be back on Monday to rewind the weekend. 2 big Flyers games, 2 Phillies games as well. Should be 2 good games against the Rangers this weekend. Of course, Sixers, Hornets. Can they get into one of those playoff spots? I think they can. Bigger question is, will Joe and Paul George play? Big sports weekend here in the area. This is a fun time of year. Playoff races heating up. Baseball's back. Let's go. Sign me up. Now, if the weather would just cooperate and be like it was yesterday, we'll be okay. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for March 27th, 2026. My name is Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a feel-good Friday. Have a good weekend, everyone. Don't forget to check out the Brotherly Birds Breakdown. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.